Good afternoon. Thanks for joining this mastermind session on e-commerce and digital marketing. This afternoon, we're going to discuss freelancer business model. So essentially, this will help you understand better what is freelancing and how exactly you can make a business from that. If you can recall, during our mastermind session in the introduction to e-commerce, digital marketing, and freelancing, we discussed a little bit about the freelance business model or the e-commerce basic revenue models, this one. But we did not really touch further the freelancing side of it. Although I've shared there that the basic also for freelancing business has this type of models as well. But this afternoon, I'm going to share with you more specific discussion on the freelancer business model. I asked this question before, right? So why do you want to become a freelancer? Would you mind guys sharing in one sentence? Why do you want to become a freelancer? I know it's there already. You have answered that one in your task because I have asked that one in your Trello board, right? So would you mind sharing why do you want to become a freelancer?
Gusto ko maging freelancer, sir, kasi naging curious ako kung paano to gawin at naging interested ako.
How about you, Moy?
For me, freelancing is a very challenging part since I know this before, but I just apply this time because freelancer is freedom that you want to express your knowledge independently. You can create and you can sell your skills in different client without a boss or any that. So you have the
Right.
independent to yourself. That's the way I want to do it.
Right. How about you, Kinet?
Since we're entering the industry 4.0, Kuya Bon, there's a growing demand for competitiveness in digital professional. So I take advantage of it within.
Right. So every time I ask aspiring freelancers why do you want to become a freelancer, I always get different responses, and that is actually expected. And the most noticeable part lang is when I ask this question is sometimes the respondent became hesitant in telling the fact that they want to make money out from it. Would you guys agree with me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Diba? But you don't say it up front, right? Because at some point you have to maybe you feel shy or ashamed when you share that one. But don't worry about it. It's actually not something that you would be ashamed of now because the fact, as Kenneth said, we are moving towards Industry 4.0. So it's like we need to also jump into that wagon wherein we want to be freelancers as well. And when we say becoming a freelancer, it's actually not just for the sake of doing it because it's the trend. No, we want to capitalize on it because that's where the money is, right? So that's basically it. But I think the other reasons that you may have may be secondary na. So my point is, from the very beginning, the moment that you realize that you want to become a freelancer, it's because you want to make money out from it. I hope that's also one of your primary goals there. Because I don't believe with people saying that they just want to do this because for the sake of doing it now. People want to become freelancers because they see the potential when it comes to making money or generating revenue. All right.
Yes, sir.
Great. So now, are you ready to become a freelancer? So of course you are ready, no? Because you accepted the challenge already. You joined the bootcamp, you joined the mastermind, and you continue doing it. So I'm very much sure that you are ready to become a freelancer. Now, when you become a freelancer, you need to be willing to work at flexible hours. That means working not in our usual 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 schedules. We have to work based on the requirements of the client. So if the clients say that they want you to work on late hours your time, then we have to do it. Otherwise, we are going to let go of them. So it's going to be a case-to-case scenario, but for most cases, being a freelancer means being able to work in a flexible arrangement or a flexible schedule. Of course, you need to also spend working time mostly alone and talk to peers online. So it's just like this one. That's why when you have this mastermind session, it's like a training for you to be already adept in doing online tools, not particularly for collaborations or for discussions. Kasi nga, when you become a freelancer or when you do freelancing, that means talking to your peers online, talking to your boss online, talking to your clients online, and mostly working alone. So if you will say na, can I survive with that arrangement? I don't see any reason why not. because I think I, as your trainer, is a good example for that I have been doing this for years already. And I believe there are a lot more freelancers out there who are able to sustain their freelancing business, who are able to do this full time and without any colleague or teammates right beside them. And also, when you start handling a good number of online jobs, your social life will also be affected. So it doesn't mean that you are going to lose the social life that you used to have, but it only means that it's not going to be the same as before. But of course, the social life is still there. In fact, having a social life when doing freelancing or having a social life while being a freelance, it's actually better than being a corporate employee. So it's like it's better for me based on experience. And I believe that's also the same thing for the rest of other freelancers. So I think the point here when we say that your social life will also be affected, it's probably the interactions that you used to have with your peers at work because you don't have that kind of environment when you do freelancing. So it's mostly you, yourself, your family, your relatives, your kids, or your brothers, your siblings. So it's you will get used to it, but it's obviously not the same when you go to work, the traditional work setup where you see your colleagues and you get excited going to work because you want to see someone or you want to meet someone there in the office. It doesn't work that way anymore. But yes, this is actually a good thing for introverts, right? Because we tend to hide, not technically hide, no, just like we want to be alone most of the time, right? So another thing is you can lose projects. When you do freelancing, you can lose projects. You have to be mindful about that. Because when you do freelancing, you manage your client's relationship. You manage your business, your freelancing business. And at times, you may lose projects in the process. And by that, that means you have to really like look for other opportunities or more projects actively. So in my case, for example, how I do this, for years doing freelancing, for years being in Upwork, for example, never really it happens that I lost or I don't have any client at all. Why? Because I maintain multiple projects and I don't settle for one or two clients only. So I see to it that I always have my plates full with projects so that in any case, one client ends the contract or ended the contract, at least I have some more clients to work with. At the same time, I can easily just replace that particular project that has ended. Okay, so another thing is you may also fail to meet client expectation at times. And it's true, no, it happens. We cannot please everybody. There are times some projects will fail. For some reason you did not deliver, or essentially there's a misunderstanding, or the client did not provide sufficient details about the project. So given that scenario, there are times that the project will fail. And when that happens, don't fret, don't be disappointed with that. I am telling you right now that it usually happens and you can actually get away with that. So you have to recover yourself, you have to learn from it, you have to see for yourself what happened exactly and why the project failed. So it's like a continuous learning process for you to be able to manage future projects more efficiently. All right? So what are you good at, diba? So when you try to understand the freelancing business model and you want to position on certain model, you have to identify your skills. And it's like asking question like this: what are you good at? So essentially right now, since you are doing e-commerce and digital marketing, you are participating in the bootcamp and mastermind, I can tell that you have so much potentials. You have so much areas to focus on in the e-commerce and digital marketing landscape. So it's like you can be a social media manager, you can be a website developer, you can be a Facebook ads specialist or digital marketing specialist. So there are just so much skills that you can focus on. The idea actually with the e-commerce and digital marketing bootcamp is for you to have an awareness of the landscape, and you have to decide which area you want to specialize with. So right now, I believe you already have your skills, and that's what you are going to utilize or what you are going to offer for your clients. So if you have other skills other than this one, then that's good. So that's like an advantage for you when you have additional skills beyond the scope of e-commerce and digital marketing. All right, so I'm sharing here that freelancing is a doorway to self-discovery, right? And with a growth mindset, you can capitalize on that and build on your current strength. So it's like you cannot expect to be like an expert today. You can be an expert as you continue doing freelancing, because along the way you will learn a lot of things. No, you will learn new things about the industry, and sometimes you are able to gain additional skills and knowledge that can complement with what you have right now. So it's just a matter of really pursuing with this and see to it that you have this what we call as the growth mindset. So kailangan you have that. All right. So when you do freelancing, you need to have tools. So you need to have different toolkits. And usually this is what we recommend at the minimum. So for example, for your portfolio, you need to have there your CV, your curriculum vitae. And of course, essentially this is where you can showcase your best works, no, your previous jobs or previous projects. But in any case you don't have one, I suggest that you also start like offering, as I've said before, you have to offer your service for maybe for free, just to like acquire or gain experience, at the same time gain testimonials from those people that you are going to offer your services for free. You can do that, or you can join apprenticeship programs. But if you have experience already, then you can just go ahead and put that up in your website together with your CV. So in your website, since this is an e-commerce and digital marketing program where you are asked to create your e-commerce centric website, then you can already use that one for your portfolio and also publish there your CV. So there's a template for the CV that you can just follow. In fact, with Elementor, you also have there like a template for CV. You just have to fill in the details and tweak in the design so that it fits in with your current website's layout. Another thing is, of course, as I've said earlier, you need to have the website or blog. There you can showcase the services you're offering and then showcase your brand as well. And for the gadgets, this means having your own computer. It can be a desktop or laptop. It would help if you have a smartphone and also a good internet connection. Here in the Philippines, I suggest that you at least have like 5 Mbps internet speed so that you are able to work smoothly with that type of internet connection. For the applications, usually we use coordination or collaboration tools like Basecamp, Trello, Slack. So that is why here in this bootcamp also, I have shared to you how to use Slack and Trello, right? If you notice it, like how you perform tasks, how you organize the task in the bootcamp, in this training, actually is what you are also going to do when you offer or when you manage projects for the clients. You are going to have like certain stages. For example, on our case, we have like backlogs to do, right? So just like this one. Yeah, it's usually this to do and progress QA completed. So something like that. And with that training that you have right now, it would be easier for you to manage projects moving forward with the clients that you are going to work with in the future. Of course, email, you need to have that, and usually Gmail. File storage like Google Drive and Dropbox. On this training, we're using Google Drive most of the time. And office productivity like MS Office or Google Apps, Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, and or Open Office. My recommendation here usually is Google Apps because it's really designed for online collaboration. So make sure that you know how to use Google Sheets, Google Slides, Google Docs, and all these other Google apps that Google provides for free. Another thing is time tracking. So you will need to use Toggle, T-metric, right? So that you are able to log time for what you are doing. So the idea actually is when the client asks you to log your time, if they're not in Upwork or if they're not in other freelance platform like Freelancer or onlinejobs.ph or whatever other freelance platforms that provides time trackers, if the client asks you to do the time tracking manually, then you can just use Toggle or T-metric. And of course, the CRM, which we have discussed already, like using a HubSpot CRM tool to manage your clients. And for the payments, you need to have this so that you can accept payments online. So the popular are Payoneer, PayPal, and of course here in the Philippines, if you have like clients here in the Philippines, it would be easier because they can just transfer or deposit that one to your bank account or in GCash or Paymaya. But even with your bank account, this can actually also receive payments from your clients outside the country because they usually like do wire transfer, and they will just ask you for the bank account details, which involve providing the account detail, the account number, your account name, and then the what we call as the SWIFT information or SWIFT number. So that's for the payment. So that's what you will need as part of your freelancer toolkit. Now, what are the freelancer business models that most freelancers belong to? So on my case, for example, by the way, as I've said before, the basic revenue models in freelancing are guru, retail, and membership. It's just like e-commerce, because if you look at it, freelancing is actually e-commerce as well. So as I've discussed before, guru is like a person or entity offering expert services. And when it comes to retail, it's usually tangible and electronic products being sold in retail. But that also means having a retail business as a freelancer. I'll discuss further later. And also you can have this like in a membership or subscription model. So as a freelancer for Go revenue model, usually it goes like this. You are a resource person. So in this case, I'm doing freelancing as a resource person. Sometimes I am doing that. So on that arrangement, I'm a guru and I'm using the guru revenue model. I also provide consulting. So I also belong here. Project management, business development, and project brief. Arrangements like these are usually under the guru revenue model when you talk about the revenue model for freelancing. Now, another thing is for the retail. Here, as a freelancer, when we say retail, it means doing projects on a per project basis or per task basis or per campaign or per package. So essentially, it is retail in nature, diba? Or writing per article or developing an e-commerce website per website. It's like that. So it's retail in nature. And when you say subscription, it's like doing freelancing with these arrangements, like service package per month, service package per week, or service package per number of days, or on a quarterly basis or semi-annually basis. Essentially, freelancing arrangement that falls under this subscription or membership can be called as subscription revenue model. So it works that way. Again, we have three: Goro revenue model, retail revenue model, and then subscription revenue model. So you have there the examples for each. All right, so you might ask, okay, so I am an e-commerce and digital marketing specialist, or I had a training in e-commerce and digital marketing. Now, how exactly it looks like if I want myself to be immersed in the industry? So take a look at this canvas, guys. Take a look at that. So if you look at it right now, so it's what we call as the business model canvas, and where exactly freelancing can fit in, or where exactly the freelancer can fit in. So in this example, it's actually here. So with this example that we have, so I am showing here like the key partners, the key activities, the value proposition, and then the customer relationships, the customer segments, the cost structure, and also the revenue streams. And this is actually an example of what can be a business or an industry. On this particular example, it's like more of a marketing industry, because you have there the PR and marketing agencies, you have there the event organizers, and then with them as key partners, you can have them as client actually, because here freelancers can fit in wherein they will accept outsourced projects. And by that means working closely with the PR agency or the marketing agency, and or also with the event organizers, for example, as key partners. And then the focus is to do key activities like development, research, promotion, client management, and all of this. So here on this example, as you look at it, so yung value proposition, for example, ng isang business na to is they are doing e-commerce at development, they are doing digital marketing, they're also doing CRM and training. And you might ask now, okay, so how exactly I can collaborate with them? Well, if you look at it, you are an e-commerce and digital marketing specialist, right? And or you have the skills that can be utilized also by these key partners. So these people doing all these activities, you can be part of them as a freelancer, diba? So what you need to understand here is that you have to like see to it that you know what they are doing. you know what they are trying to accomplish or how exactly they are doing business. So ganon yan. So it's like you can probably think about another business sector wherein you can find opportunity where you can fit in. So for example, just give an example if you have guys. What can you think about right now? Like as a certain business sector, say finance. So maybe there's a bookkeeping firm here in Cebu and maybe they need like freelance bookkeepers. You as a freelance bookkeeper can work with them. They can be your client, that particular key partner, essentially that bookkeeping firm, and you as a freelance bookkeeper can provide services to them based on what they need according to the business model canvas they have. So it's like understanding exactly what they want to accomplish, what they are doing, and how they do business with others. Once you are able to explore that kind of understanding with the model, then it would be easier for you to fit in yourself as a service provider or as a freelancer. Can you think of another example? Another thing that I'm thinking right now is fellow freelancers. For example, I'm a freelancer and at the same time I'm an entrepreneur. So as an entrepreneur, I do business where I create courses, I train people, right? And I also like manage these trainees or students. So there, if you have the skills that I can also utilize, for example, then you can be part of my team wherein you are going to work with me as a freelancer as well. So again, it's just a matter of finding your niche and also positioning yourself in which area of the landscape or in the business model where you want to position yourself. So it works that way. Question, guys.
Ang question is, how can we motivate ourselves to become a freelancer? Any tips or
Good question. So the very first thing that I normally recommend when I'm asked with that question, like how you are going to be motivated as a freelancer for you to grow from being a newbie to something a more experienced one or something that more confident, diba, is to really like ditch out your self-limiting beliefs. Have you heard of that phrase, self-limiting beliefs? Haven't you heard that one yet?
not yet?
Yeah. So when we say self-limiting beliefs, these are the words that say like mahirap yata yan, ayoko niyan, or nakakatakot kaya humarap ng client. Baka bumagsak ako sa interview or nakakapagod pala gawin yung e-commerce and digital marketing, na-overwhelm ako. So these are self-limiting beliefs, and normally these self-limiting beliefs are what usually pulls you down. And for you to grow, as Moy asked earlier, you have to ditch that out. You need to think of the positive side of things. Instead of thinking about the self-limiting beliefs, you have to overcome that or counter that one with the positive motivations that you can have. So for example, on my case, I sometimes procrastinate. It's like I tend to say like, okay, I can do this tomorrow. I can probably prioritize something else. I can do this tomorrow. Or essentially just procrastination. You know procrastination, right?
Yes,
Have you
yes.
heard of that one? It's like delaying things.
Yes, sir.
It's like delaying things instead of doing it when you can. So the motivation that you can have may be something like, I really need to do this because I want to make money. Or I really need to do this because a lot of people are expecting from me to help them. Those are motivations that can counter your delimiting beliefs or self-limiting beliefs. So, yep. And by the way, for you to also like open your mind wider on that aspect, I suggest that you also read books about self-growth and personal developments. So you can find a lot in online, in bookstores. So on my case, I used to buy books in Amazon. So I also listen to different podcasts. So essentially podcasts or books or audiobooks that will help me improve not my technical skills alone, but also my professional and personal developments. So you need to have that as well so that you can grow beyond being an expert. All right? So, did I answer the question, Moy?
Yes.